After you finish this video, you will understand how one wrong move can decide life or death, so don't skip. A couple, Jen and Mike, are at a fertility clinic. They're about to start an IVF procedure. Dr. Graza is helping Jen with embryo freezing. Then, out of nowhere, a car loses control. It slams straight into the building, right into the fertility clinic. Dr. Graza goes down, and the crash does something even worse. It damages the liquid nitrogen tank holding the embryos. The tank starts leaking. Dr. Graza's arm is pinned near the tank. Alarms start blaring. The temperature inside the tank is failing. Those embryos are at risk of thawing if they're not moved in time, so many people's hopes get destroyed. Lorna gets the distress call from the clinic. Station 113 rushes to the scene. When the crew arrives, it's bad. They're not just here to save Drive Graza. They have to save the embryos, too. Even trapped, Dr. Graza keeps telling everyone, protect the embryos first. She knows exactly what those embryos mean to her patients. She even agrees to something unthinkable. If they have to, they can amputate her arm on the spot. Whatever it takes to get her out of danger. Roxy faces an impossible call. Finally, Roxy performs emergency medical treatment right there at the scene. Dr. Graza is freed and rushed to the hospital. Meanwhile, Don Hart takes charge of moving the embryos. The nearest IVF clinic is 10 miles away, but they have to keep the embryos cold the whole way there. Don comes up with a makeshift solution. He has the crew use CO2 from fire extinguishers to help maintain a cooling environment. They protect the tank and race against the clock to reach the next clinic. This isn't a typical rescue, but this one carries the future hopes of countless families. And at the very last moment, they make it. The embryos are transferred in time. The fertility clinic rescue is a success. The 911 dispatch center is swamped. Every ambulance in the city is stuck outside a single hospital. New emergency calls are coming in, but there are no units to send. That's when a mother named Jillian calls in. Her son, Micah, is struggling to breathe. Micah already has a laryngeal cleft. Now he's caught a cold and his airway is in serious danger. Josh takes the call and Maddie jumps straight into dispatch mode. The ambulances can't get there in time. Maddie checks the map. Presbyterian Hospital is close to Jillian. She tells Jillian to skip the wait and drive Micah there herself. Maddie guides her turn by turn and keeps telling her to stay calm. She reminds Jillian right now the most important thing is to drive safe. Once they reach the hospital, the doctors and nurses will take it from there, but Jillian stops hearing Mika's voice and the fear takes over. She can't help it. She turns around to check on him just for a second. That second is all it takes. The car loses control and slams straight into a fire hydrant. Miraculously, neither Jillian nor Micah is seriously hurt from the crash. But now the car is done. They're not going anywhere, and Micah still can't breathe. The situation just got a whole lot worse. Over at the hospital, Ian hears what's happening and grabs his airway kit. He runs out the door and heads straight for the scene. Meanwhile, Chimney and the 188 are already on their way. Ian gets there first. He quickly checks Mika's airway. It's bad. Ian doesn't waste a second. He uses the airway kit to try to get Micah breathing again. By the time the 118 arrives, Ian is already in the middle of saving this kid's life. Across the scene, Buck is handling the hydrant. He shuts it down and clears the area. With the water under control, the rescue team has room to work. Ian stays locked in on Micah, and then Micah starts breathing again. The little boy slowly comes back around. The crowd that's gathered watches it all unfold. A corporate office. A male boss suddenly collapses in a meeting, writhing in pain. Firefighters and paramedics rush to the scene. At first, everyone assumes it's a heart attack. Hen immediately asks if he's clutching his chest, but things get awkward fast because the pain isn't coming from his chest. Eddie examines him and discovers the man is wearing a chastity belt. Worse, he swallowed the only key. Now the rescue is equal parts absurd and dangerous. Without immediate intervention, the pressure could cause serious injury. The firefighters have no choice but to cut the device off. They bring out a grinder, but the man wakes up and can't stop squirming. That makes cutting extremely dangerous. If he keeps moving, the tool could hurt him badly. Then a woman in the office steps forward. Turns out she has a very special relationship with this man. She takes control and orders him to stay still. He goes quiet immediately. The firefighters seize the moment and carefully cut through the device. They get him free, but by now practically the entire office has witnessed the whole embarrassing ordeal. The rescue is almost funny, but it's also a reminder that any bizarre little secret can turn into a full-blown emergency. It's a first date, a man and a woman are out together, just a normal meetup, or so they think. Then the woman is hit by a wave of sharp stomach pain. At first, she assumes it's something she ate, but something feels very wrong. Firefighters and paramedics rush to the scene. They quickly realize this is no ordinary stomach ache. She's in labor, and the most shocking part, she had no idea she was pregnant. It's a cryptic pregnancy. She's been carrying a baby for months without ever knowing. Her date is completely frozen in shock, but he doesn't run. He stays by her side and does his best to support her. The paramedics immediately assess both mother and baby. What they find isn't good. The baby is in breech position and there's blood in the amniotic fluid. Both mother and child are at risk. Following Hen's guidance, Eddie carefully works to reposition the baby. The tension on scene is through the roof. They have to be fast and they have to be steady. Too slow and the baby could lose oxygen. Too rough and the mother could be seriously hurt. In the end, the paramedics successfully deliver the baby. The baby comes out safe. What started as a first date turns into an unexpected delivery room. And the guy, scared out of his mind, never left her side. A call that started as chaos ends with something surprisingly warm. Austin Miller brings his new girlfriend, Libby, to the Miller family reunion. It's Libby's first time meeting his family, and she's a nervous wreck. The Millers insanely competitive. They decide to settle it the old-fashioned way, a tug of war. The moment the game starts, both sides pull like their lives depend on it. Libby stands on the sidelines, watching the chaos unfold. But then, out of nowhere, she starts choking on a bone. She tries to call for help, but everyone's locked in on the rope. Nobody notices something's wrong. Then, mid-pull, the rope snaps. It whips back with terrifying force. Several Miller family members lose their fingers on the spot. In seconds, a family reunion turns into a bloodbath. Libby finally coughs the bone out of her throat. She immediately calls 911. Firefighters arrive on scene and start assessing the injured. Multiple missing fingers. Total chaos. The rescue team has one urgent priority. Find those fingers. Because if they're kept properly, there's still a chance to reattach them. While searching the scene, Buck finds a severed finger still wearing a French tip. Greater than I got two more. I don't think. This is you. Greater than and I found these over by the picnic table. Greater than that's my thumb. Greater than Raylan realizes her ring finger is gone. She starts to feel dizzy. Her condition is getting worse. Libby joins the search and she's the one who finds a critical missing finger. Firefighters work to control the bleeding while collecting the severed fingers one by one. What started as a ridiculous family competition ends as a full-blown medical emergency. A call comes in. A repairman is trapped high up on a roadside billboard. He's suspended in his harness dangling beside the sign and he's unconscious. The scene looks dangerous. Firefighters suspect he may have been electrocuted. Lieutenant Kidd and the crew can't just rush in. They need to confirm whether the billboard is still alive. If current is still flowing, the rescuers could get hit, too. One of the crew locates the breaker. He kills the power. Vasquez moves fast. He stabilizes the victim and holds the repairman steady while the team brings up the ladder. Together, they carefully lower him to the ground. Violet and Novak assess his condition. He was unconscious, but there are no obvious signs of serious electrocution. That raises a question. What actually happened up there? Later, investigators piece it together. The repairman had accidentally clipped his restraint to an electrical conduit pipe instead of a proper anchor point. That single mistake sent him swinging and knocked him out cold. A garage. A man's hand is trapped inside motorcycle gear. The machinery bites down on it. He can't get free on his own. Paramedics Violet and Novak arrive and quickly realize they need more hands and more tools. They call for backup from a nearby firehouse. Firehouse 40 answers the call. Mouch shows up with them. The firefighters get to work on the motorcycle gear. Every move has to be careful and controlled. One wrong move and the man's hand gets hurt even worse. Violet and Novak focus on keeping him stable. The firefighters work to dismantle and loosen the mechanism trapping his hand. Finally, he's free. Violet and Novak treat his injuries and get him the medical care he needs. Firefighters arrive at the scene of a car accident. A woman is trapped and not in a good spot. She's not just sitting in her seat waiting to be pulled out. The impact has wedged her body into an unexpected position. That makes the rescue a lot more complicated. Move her the wrong way and she could end up in worse shape. Lieutenant Side reads the scene and assesses the risks. First, they need to confirm the vehicle is stable. Then they can figure out how to safely reach her. The rest of the crew gets to work around the scene. They keep the victim calm while setting up their equipment. Speed isn't the priority here. What matters is making sure she doesn't take a second hit from a shifting car or a wrong move. The team works carefully, controlling every inch of space. They slowly open up a rescue path. Only when they're sure it's safe does Firehouse 51 finally bring her.